Hello everybody and welcome back to the Airing It Out podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is the Luke Beech interview, episode number 2. Hopefully you're joining us off the tail end of the first one where we spoke about how we can understand PTSD, what PTSD is and what complex PTSD is and what it looks like in Luke's life, in his everyday life and how he's come to build an intimate relationship with it. We also spoke about such things as narcissistic family dynamics and some of the more positive, brighter sides to Luke's life. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm all good, mate.
Haven't given you any reason to kind of bolt out the door just yet.
Not yet.
On one of your rage runs.
Yeah.
One of these days, I've got to see your rage. I can't see it. I think I've got to witness it.
Yeah, you've got to see it from the distance. You see me running out, you're really slowly getting bigger.
I just want to see it in like the narrowest path. Just. I'm going to keep an eye out for it on the phone. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at how we, as individuals, can become allies to people with post-traumatic stress disorder. So how can we gain a better understanding of what somebody might be going through? How can we have better conversations and how can we make them feel more comfortable with themselves, and how can we educate ourselves on learning how to be around somebody with this condition? Another thing we're also going to be talking about is how let me try that again, but we'll keep the same shot. We've got somebody to provide questions for Luke. Now, this person has post-traumatic stress disorder. So what we're doing on this episode of the podcast is giving that group of people a voice. We are representing them and hopefully giving them something that they can be kindred with, for lack of a better word. So that if there are people with post-traumatic stress disorder out there, hopefully these questions will resonate with you and have a lot more meaningful insights that Luke is able to provide with you. So, are you all ready to go?
Ready to roll, mate?
Fantastic. So, let's start with becoming an ally. Now, this concept came to me from Dave Corbin, episode number 3 of the interviews, if you haven't checked it out. And it's essentially, what can we do to better be there for people with post-traumatic stress disorder? And the first kind of question that I have about that is, how can we have better conversations about this disorder or mental illness with you? Like, if I were to approach you hypothetically, if somebody listening out there knew somebody with post-traumatic stress disorder and they didn't quite know how to approach them, don't get me wrong, or if I am wrong, correct me, there are certain things you kind of need to look out for with this particular condition rather than just going bull in a china shop.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, if you heard, like, say, for example, I had PTSD and they were like coming up to say hello, just come up and say hello, do you know what I mean?
Hello.
But I suppose in what you're saying is, I'm correct in thinking the question you're asking is, if you're in having a problem, how would you approach? Is that the right thing you're asking for?
Yeah. If we were to have an open dialogue about post-traumatic stress disorder, what are some of the things that we can do on our end to make the experience more comfortable and better for you?
It's open mind, mate.
Yeah.
For me personally, as long as, if there's no pre-notions, open mind, I'm happy. The thing, I don't know if it's in me as an individual or me as with my PTSD, whatever you fire at me, you get back. If you come to me open, I'm going to be as open as you will be with me.
Excuse me. So in terms of triggers and things, what sort of things do we need to approach with a little bit of caution?
So if you are engaging someone with PTSD, it is important to be armed. Like, with that knowledge, you need to know what are the triggers.
Not have like a gun.
No. Carry it on. Sleep with one. It's having the knowledge of, this causes a trigger.
Okay.
I'm going to do my best to avoid doing that. And if one of these, so for example, I've got some really obscure ones, certain smells.
Really?
You can't avoid those.
Okay.
Sound, like I mentioned before, they're slamming doors, they can't be avoided. You know, so people around me know what my triggers are. When they happen, first thing I notice that they do is they look at me to see my reaction. If I'm fine, they're fine. If I'm a bit like, reassurance. Reassurance goes so far with me. I don't know if it's a million personal, but just knowing I'm safe, that's all I need.
Yeah, and I imagine it's knowing that you're safe around the people that you're with as well.
Yeah, it's comfortability is important, obviously, but yeah.
Okay, so we've got open-mindedness. Would you say it's a priority to know those triggers, or to understand what this person's triggers are?
I suppose that's depending on the case. It depends on your relationship with the person.
Yeah.
If you're involved in a romantic relationship, I would say you need to know those triggers. That you can't avoid that in life. If you're acquaintances, you don't need to know them. You know, as the person with PTSD to an extent, if you've been triggered around someone who doesn't need to know that, it is your responsibility to say, I've got PTSD, that's giving me a problem, I need a bit of time away, is that alright? And this is where the open-mindedness comes in, like the understanding and compassion, do you know what I mean?
So if the roles were reversed for a moment, if something had set you off, is it important? Do you think it's important to communicate to the person that wants to know that something has set you off? Is it something that you'd be more comfortable dealing with yourself, or do you think?
I personally, myself,
yeah,
I'd rather just say I'm having an issue, I'll be back in a minute.
So it's you think it would be preferable to advise somebody, okay, I'm having an issue right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a minute.
Yeah, because this is just my theory, and I'm going to be wrong, but if I can't deal with it, I'm not going to come to anyone else with it.
That's very reasonable. Yeah.
It's because for me, it's the whole burden of guilt and everything. I feel like I burden people when I talk to them. I know I'm not, and I've got people I know literally will drop anything if I'm having a problem, vice versa. So in a sense, in that instance, it's very situational. It depends who you are as in the relationship. If it's just a work colleague, I'm having an issue seeing a bit. Yeah, no worries, mate. Come back when you're good, and then just check up. That's the only thing I'd say.
Okay.
As the outside looking in, just check up when they come back. And you doing all right, mate? Do you need another minute? Or just don't repeatedly check up. Just fucking annoying.
Be mindful.
Yeah.
But don't be an irritating twat.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you had conversations before with people where there've been things, oh, actually, no, that was really helpful, the way that you spoke about that, or you asked me, or have there been cases where you've been like, don't do that?
There's been many cases where it's been, don't do that.
Right.
I've not really had much of that's been helpful. To an extent I have, but not in everyday life. The main thing I've noticed is if, like I said before previously, I really don't like injustice. Injustice is, if you're just being unfair, I can't stand for it.
Right.
And in the past, in employment, I've had arguments with bosses from the way they spoke to me, the way they spoke to other people. I've been fired for basically causing an uprising.
Okay.
Because one guy, I just felt like he was being bullied.
Wow, right.
So I had his back 100%, and I was fighting people for him because he just didn't have it in him.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's a hard one. So in essence, I'm more likely to correct than to say, oh, thank you, that was educational. That might just be my personality. I like to see myself as a defending person. I want to defend people.
Really? That's one of those personality types, isn't it? Like the INTJ or whatever.
Yeah.
One of those that defends Myers-Briggs. Okay, so when shit hits the fan,
yes,
it's gone a bit sideways.
Yeah.
What do you need?
So outside looking in, if, say, for example, we was in a situation, I've had an issue, main thing I need to know is I'm safe.
Okay.
That's for, safety, I'm safe, I'm secure, nothing's going to hurt me, and reassurance, mate.
That's where that positive reassurance comes
Yeah.
from. Wow, okay. So for you personally, it'll give you a bit of reassurance, but do you find yourself needing to take yourself away from the situation, or are you better there?
It depends on it, really. So if I've got a lot of fear, I need to get away, because the fear is going to turn to anger, then it's just going to turn to aggression.
Okay.
Again, I don't want to be that person, but I'm scared something's going to hurt me. I need to defend myself. Now everyone's a target. You know what I mean? But sometimes reassurance isn't enough. So that's when I'll be like, okay, if the reassurance ain't enough, I need to get out.
Okay.
But then sometimes when the reassurance is enough and it's still bothering me, I will make myself sit in it, because to an extent, I need to win.
Right.
That's my competitive nature.
Yeah.
I need to win this fight. This is a little battle. I need it. This is mine.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So if you were to take yourself away from that situation, is it space and time that you need, or is there something that if someone were to offer that reassurance when you've taken yourself away, would that be helpful to you, or would you rather give yourself a moment?
For me personally, I need the quiet. It's like destimulation. I would get overstimulated. I need that relief of just nothing to...
I suppose where you become so instantaneously heightened, if it's your nervous system, then, you know, if your body's working at however much functionality, way more than it needs to, it's about bringing yourself down from that. And I think the way that you said, like, destimulating yourself, what sort of ways do you do, how do you do that?
Box breathing. Box breathing is fantastic.
That's 4, 4 and 4,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's, for me personally, it's just taking that moment to pay attention to my breathing.
Okay.
It's like when you notice that you blink, you notice you're blinking for 5 minutes, don't you? It's you notice you breathe in and you box breathing. Just that distraction is, I'm so focused on my breathing, I don't care what's just happened a minute ago.
Okay.
Like, let's focus on my breathing, focus on that.
Yeah, I find, for audience members, box breathing, please correct me if I'm wrong, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4, and then keep that exhalation for 4. Okay. Fuck, now where was I going? Yeah, so when I'm beginning my meditation sessions, it's focusing on my breathing, which is like one of the best gateways to mindfulness and presence.
Yeah.
Because you're not focused about what's going on up in your head or any other distractions. It's basically just solely focusing yourself on one thing.
Yeah.
And once you do that, it kind of just de-stresses everything else.
So I'll do the opposite with meditation. I'll start with my feet. I'll start like feeling my body from my feet upwards. I just feel it relaxing like a big wave. I just like the feeling.
They do that a lot towards the end of yoga sessions as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mindfulness. Have you tried yoga?
Never.
I think you'd like it.
That was the flexibility, mate.
Yeah,
I'm a rigid.
Yeah, some of the sessions that I've been to have been so calming. You do the whole stretching and it can be really difficult.
Yeah.
But ones that I've been to around here, like the last 10-15 minutes, you basically do all this physicality and then you lie down and it's just completely kind of mind and body orientated rather than physically.
Really?
So they put like a lavender bag over your eyes, give you a blanket, get you to lie down. Oh my God.
I'd be gone, mate.
I go with my mum and she says so many times she just falls asleep straight away. Okay, becoming an ally. So we've spoken about what you can do when something hits the fan, but is there anything that you can do to kind of mitigate the possibility of that happening? Like, what can you do to prevent it happening?
Yes. Yeah. There's healthy ways and unhealthy ways to do this.
Okay.
So the unhealthy way is avoidance.
Yeah.
Which you can't avoid life. It's going to get you.
Yeah, life happens at you if you don't happen at life.
And I suppose the healthy way is kind of the radical acceptance kind of thing. It's self-reassurance. I'm not very good at that myself because I don't believe myself a lot of the time.
Right.
I doubt myself a lot. So self-reassurance can help you pull yourself away from a trigger. I'd say for me, it's 50-50 on that. Like, it either works or it doesn't.
Okay.
But...
And what does an example of that radical acceptance look like in terms of...
So, just my thought process, let's say the door's banged, I'm like, okay, door's banged. I can feel my heart rate is up. I can feel like everything's just ready to go. Like, I'm twitchy, everything. One thing I find weird is that everything slows down a little, ever so slightly.
Do you reckon that's that flight or flight response?
Yeah, I think my adrenaline's soared so much that it's just slowing everything down. But it's not like, do you know what I mean? It's fractionally. It's just I don't know if my eyes are moving quicker or something. I'm just processing slower. But so it's just telling yourself that you're safe for me. It's literally
affirmations.
It's, you know when you watch like Ghost Adventures. And there's something, so there's bang over there, and there's clearly someone knocked the door over there, but you've heard it over there. You kind of got to do that to yourself.
Okay.
Like, break everything down. Like,
right.
Just be really, I've forgotten the word. Skeptical, just about everything. Be your own skeptic of what's happening around you.
Interesting.
And it pulls you you're focusing on too much. That tree made a crack, which has done something over there. There's a possibility someone could come from there, but is it really going to happen now? So let's look over there.
Okay.
It's that sort of stuff.
Just leading yourself down a different path.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not natural to do it at first. Talk it. That's when they say when I'm learning to drive, like talk yourself through your drive.
Yeah.
Just talk yourself through your thought process.
Wow.
And then you'll find as you verbalise it sometimes, that's just enough to go, that's fucking stupid, let's move on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it there.
Yeah.
So much of what goes on in your head, you're thinking.
Yeah.
As soon as you say it out loud, you actually think, fuck. Right. That was maybe not.
Yeah.
I realised there might have been a flaw in that question because it's what can you do to stop yourself getting there? But I imagine with PTSD, it's not something you can anticipate.
Yes and no to an extent. You can anticipate when the triggers coming, but you can't stop all triggers.
Okay.
I have triggers associated with certain behaviours in people.
Yeah. So sorry, I just had a thought. If you can and can't anticipate things, so perhaps going to a door shop.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. Going to a slamming door museum.
I'm so sorry to interrupt with that comment.
The orchestra of bands.
Please carry on.
Where was I saying?
No.
You can and you can't anticipate it. Yeah, so you can't predict all noises that are going to happen and like smells that are going to appear. So that's kind of fine. But as I said, I have triggers with people's behaviours.
Okay.
So if arrogance is quite a big one for me, but I just hate it, so I don't want to say that's a trigger. But if you come up to me in a certain way and you're acting in a certain way or moving in a certain way, I think it's shifty. I literally put my hand and stop. That's my main thing, is literally put my hand out or grab you and just stop you physically.
Wow.
And it comes off as confrontational, I completely understand that, but in that moment, if I haven't stopped you and grabbed you, I'm going to freak out.
Right.
So it's stop, listen to me right now, just listen please, and then talk. And then it comes off really blunt, then I feel guilty for doing it, then I apologise like 20 minutes after doing it, because I've taken the moment, I've grabbed you, I've barked a command at you, do you know what I mean? It's not who I want to be, I want to be nice and friendly and like inviting. I've not got a friendly face, but yeah.
I get that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's interesting because did you find yourself doing that often?
Yes, right at the start. Now I've kind of learnt to just let it be.
So I think that is quite valuable. You know, if someone who you may or may not know has PTSD and they grab you and they tell you, what sort of thing would they say?
So for me, immediately, it's just stop what you're doing. So like, oh, okay, what? And I'll literally break it down and go, please don't do that. Please. It fucks with my head. I can't cope with it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because it seems as though that's an insight where we can have a better understanding of why someone might do that, but it seems in the process of doing it, you're explaining why it is that you're doing it.
It's just stuff I've noticed in like working life. Like I've had to literally stop people and go, don't do that. And another thing for me is touch. I hate being touched.
Yeah.
Touch repulses me. That's the long and the short of it. I've had bosses put their arm around me, and as I've pushed their hand off, just as a reaction, they've looked at me like, what the fuck? So I've had to explain when we've left the room, like, because it was in a meeting once.
Yeah.
I put around and slapped it straight off me and just stared at him. And I was thinking, I need a minute now. So I had to kind of go to the side, and then as the meeting finished, he was like, what happened? I was like, please don't touch me. I find it repulsive. I don't mean to be horrible by slapping your hand, but I just felt the hand here, didn't I? Also, I just whacked. I was like, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, but please don't touch me. Never been touched since. It's been good. Okay.
So, yeah, it seems you definitely make these things clear and make them known. It's just, you can't expect someone putting their hand around you.
Exactly.
So
everybody's going to make mistakes. I think that's kind of like the basis I'm trying to get across is everybody's going to trigger you.
Yeah.
When you first meet them. It's going to happen. They're going to do something, albeit not necessarily triggered. They're going to do something you're just not comfortable with. And in that uncomfortability, you either let it exaggerate or keep it at the baseline or diminish it. That is that.
Just takes a little bit of patience.
Yeah, it's picking your fights as well. I've learned.
Okay, wow.
It's as you get to know people, you kind of know, like, if I said that to you, it's going to go nowhere, so I'm not going to bother. That's where you keep it at your baseline. You don't let it get any higher. So in a way, you're kind of being a martyr to yourself. You're allowing yourself that discomfort, but you're not allowing it to grow. Yeah. That's what I found worked for me was...
a little bit of self-sacrifice.
Yeah. I suppose is what you could call it.
Yeah, you do what you got to do. It's like knowing your audience a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So is there anything that other people can do for you?
See, that's a bit of a tricky one for me because I'm frightfully independent.
Yeah.
I won't ask for help in many situations. So it's a tricky one. The main thing I suppose that I need in people when I'm in my problem stages, compassion, but not full compassion. I need to be like brought up on things. I need to be kept in check.
Okay.
It's, I suppose in a way, yeah. It's kind of not allowing behaviours to happen because you have a problem. It's correcting them, but correcting them in a compassionate way.
Mm.
That's what I find is the most constructive for me, like that I respond with the most.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'd say we was in the car and I said, "Oh, what fucking dickhead!" And like, no, don't do that. That's just fucking rude. I don't like it. I don't agree with that. No worries, mate. I won't do it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's having the care to say something and
Yeah.
keeping you accountable for it,
Yeah.
but also knowing where it is that you're coming from
Yeah.
or where it might be spoken from.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard line to walk because it's the ability of being heard, whilst also the ability of being questioned.
Yeah.
Like I struggled with being heard for a long time. Then when I was being heard, I really struggled with people going, "That doesn't seem right." So be like, "You don't believe me." You end up with this weird toxic spin because no one believing you, everyone believing you, and then it's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was learning to be sort of, such a hard word to try and phrase. Yeah, just being held accountable. That's the main thing. Compassionate, being held accountable.
Well, I think being held accountable is a valuable trait to. It's
Yeah.
a tough pill to swallow, fuck me, but
Yeah, it's a tough, but
if you're able to keep yourself accountable.
I find it really constructive myself.
Yeah.
I like being held accountable.
Yeah, it's not in an egotistical way, but it's almost like carrying around a little mirror.
Yeah.
And the decisions you make, you look at it and you think, did you make the right decision?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
how do you feel about that? Like,
Absolutely.
you made that decision, what does that make you think?
In the same sort of instances, I've done that to this person can be affected, let's say. How would I feel if someone done that to me?
Yeah.
It's that sort of accountability as well, because I am, just as guilty as anyone to be a selfish motherfucker, and I can make so many choices that are going to benefit me and benefit nobody around me.
Right.
I want someone to be able to go, "No, you can't do that. I'll sort that out.
Yeah.
Come on." Because, again, I feel like sometimes when you mention PTSD, because obviously there is, such as with schizophrenia, PTSD, all that, there is a stigma behind it.
Mm.
So I think people think that this is just my thought, by the way. I personally think people with PTSD, there's a lot of people in that, are a bit of a loose cannon.
Okay.
That's the way I feel people view me as.
Right.
A bit of a loose cannon, like any moment it's boom, he's gone. It's not the case. You can go, "Stop being a dickhead," and I'll sit there and listen.
Right.
But if you're just going to belittle, we're going to go nowhere.
Right, I see what you mean.
It's a fine line to walk. It's a fine line for both to walk. It's quite a hard agreement to find, I think.
Is if you could pick one thing that could remedy that, or that you would advise people to say in order to help that?
Question: do you think that was a good choice? I think that is going to being the ally thing. Is the compassion? Do you think that was a good choice? I suppose is the only way I could put that. Is you're showing care when it's needed, and you're showing boundaries, really. I suppose to an extent.
Is it? Okay. One of the things I was going to mention earlier was, this was at the start of episode 1, but an observation that I've made from listening to podcast work. It's not that I made, but PTSD more often than not occurs from external circumstances that we can't control.
Yeah.
So that's why you had so much this wave of shell shock in World War One, and then almost like so many cases of, because if it's something that's within your control, you're then able to kind of process and adapt.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that control over a situation, then it's almost like, fuck, this could happen at any time, at any moment, and you're in that constant kind of paralysis of, is it going to happen in 1 second's time?
Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting observation to pepper into there.
It's bang on. That's what the whole tension and the fear is. It's any moment something's going to happen. Now, you have no idea what, something's going to happen. Whether it is obviously connected to your trauma to an extent. So for me, I've got a fear of being attacked all the time.
Yeah.
quite normal considering my childhood. And then I've got a friend who has a fear of things falling and stuff like that.
Really?
Terrified of the forest in case a tree falls.
No
He's
way.
near one when it fell. So
Oh, fuck.
it's just that. It's those sort of I've forgotten the word. What it's called? Collaborations, not collaborations. Corroborations. Associations
Hey.
that we make.
Okay. Okay. So, what do the people around you? This is a more personal perspective, but what do the people around you? So you said you've got a very supportive network. What do they do that helps?
The most important thing is there's no judgment. And that was one thing I needed, because my thought patterns and stuff is a bit twisted. So it's kind of like, I'm thinking is this like right? And because I've got PTSD, my idea of dying isn't frightening. My idea of dying is quite freeing. So I'm not suicidal, but I've got suicidal ideation. Yeah. To an extent, so obviously they get concerned whenever I start going down dark paths and stuff, so they want me to be as open as I can be. So as long as they're open, I'm open. That was the one thing I always made sure. If they're ready to be open, we talk. That was kind of the first thing we discussed was, I need to talk, are you ready to listen, was the main thing. Wow. That we say to each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have that reaction because I'll always advocate for people to open up and people to talk. And that's always something that I'm working on myself, but it's never as easy finding someone or knowing if someone's going to be receptive. Yeah. So the fact that part of your dialogue is, I'm about to open up, are you willing to listen, or are you ready to listen? That just cuts it out straight away. Yeah. Because it's two people, it's 4 people, but it's 2 people plus their partners. Yeah. So one of them I've known 15 years, we've been really good friends. The other one he's my longest friend. We've been friends for 24 years, like close friends. He's the one I go to the most, but he is the most like reasoning voice in those instances. But if you meet him at any other time, he's a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? Okay. He is so on it when you need him to be on it, but the rest of the time he just doesn't care. He doesn't take anything seriously. Oh, okay. Life is life. You could do for anything at him. He's just going to roll on over. But when he needs to talk, he needs you there. That's that. It's the same with me. Wow. Yeah. What a valuable friend to have. Yeah. What's his first name? Deck. Just a Deck. Cool. But yeah, I love that. Like, I've got something to say. Are you willing to talk? Are you willing to listen? Yeah. Because that's straight away. Because the amount of times I've been to people, particularly when I was younger, and I've pulled my heart out, but it was at a party, or it was. They were busy, or they were in the middle of doing something. It just wasn't the right time. So it's almost appreciating, I've got something to say, but is that person able to afford that time right now? Yeah. Are they able to afford that time to listen? Because it does take effort to listen. Yeah. It does take time and, like you say, compassion. Especially if you're... So for me, I find if I'm angry, it's not a conversation that we're going to have, and when I need to talk, I'm just shouting. Yeah. And... the one thing that was really good with Deck is he never matches my energy. He will do his best to stay as monotone and just as neutral as best as he can. And I'll do the same voice. I'll struggle sometimes because that's me. But he is very, very good at staying monotone. And then once that topic's done, he'll flip it and go, we'll play Diablo later or something. Yeah. He literally just stopped the conversation dead. It's not forgotten. He's just like, I don't want to continue that right now, mate. It's starting to like bring us both down. Let's cheer it up. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. He's a good mediator. Yeah. I like that you said that it's important not to kind of match that, because if you both raised your voices, you just be kind of ping-ponging off each other and just starting a spiral out of control. Exactly, and the spiral is worse when there's 2 of you because you're both agreeing with each other. He sounds like a very good listener. He's fantastic, mate. Yeah. Absolute idiot, but he's fantastic. Shout out, Deck. Okay, what's the next question? What sort of helps you and what doesn't help? That's actually a really good question. Mindfulness doesn't help me. To an extent, active mindfulness doesn't help me. Okay. So just being present really helps me. Yeah. But I don't know if I was just taught a method that just didn't work for me with active mindfulness. So I had therapy a couple of years ago, and the woman who was taking the session basically said, I want you to walk, but I want you to think hard about everything. And she said, like picking out your stuff and that's your active side of it. And as I'm walking, it's just like, no, I don't want to
look at the different colours in the leaves. Like, it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
I want the sounds, I want the smells, I want the feelings. I don't want the sight. If that makes sense. I kind of feel like I close my eyes a lot when I'm in these sort of areas, so I feel like the sight stuff doesn't work for me.
Was what she was telling you to do a bit more, kind of use your perception, use your brain, analyse, decipher things from one another?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I get that. Because when I go out on a walk, when I'm thinking, I'm chuntering over in my head or talking to myself, I don't see that as a good walk. To me personally, a good walk is where I'm able to forget thinking and be amongst sounds, touches, smells, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sights, but not meticulously kind of picking one out from another.
I was going to say, I'm definitely more of a feeling kind of guy. I can feel areas. I know it sounds so fucking stupid.
No, it doesn't. I think that's actually quite interesting because where you've got C-PTSD, which is such a hijacking of the nervous system, that it seems that you become so fulfilled and stimulated in a positive way when you're able to feel, touch, smell things in a positive and mindful, present way.
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that.
No, it is an interesting kind of balance to one another, I suppose.
So that's the main thing I've found that works for me. Is it's feeling for me. Like I need to feel that I'm calm. I don't need to look and make myself calm, because I can calm myself down in many ways. Yeah,
but there's the psychosomatic element of it where it's like those affirmations. If you tell yourself, you become it, and it's reassuring yourself. And we mentioned on the podcast the term like what follows I am follows you. So I am this, I am that.
Yeah.
But I think that's internal.
I like that. What follows I am follows you.
Yeah. It cropped up years ago in just one of my notebooks, and I got no idea where the fuck it came from. But I suppose that's you telling yourself, and that comes from within, and you are trying to manipulate and trick yourself into doing these things.
Yeah.
And it can work, but I imagine it makes all the difference in the world for someone with PTSD if you can have surety in that feeling externally.
Yeah.
And you can take yourself to somewhere where you can feel externally safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, that would almost. That would be
It's cathartic, mate. That's all I can tell you. It's the best feeling in the world. Like once you've hit that point, have you found your spot? So I know it sounds so stupid. I don't stay on the tracks in the forest. I just walk straight. You know what I mean? The dog takes me.
Yeah.
Then we kind of find our spots. There's always some weird little opening with something in the middle. We're just like, right, we're going to be here for about an hour, I reckon, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way. You just kind of post up in the woods.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
just
nice.
Chill out, just sit down and just take it all in.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that.
I know that's mindfulness because I'm being present, I'm in the moment, but it's not the active mindfulness that I would call it. I don't know if that's the right term.
I'm not sure.
Searching to find things to make you feel better. I don't want to do that.
See, yeah, like I said, a good walk for me is when I can forget about thinking.
Yeah.
When I'm not. I realised the other day, actually, it was when I go for a run or when I go for a walk, typically I go for a walk, I take the dog. In my head, I'm going to walk the dog.
Yeah.
I never leave the house and think, I'm just going to walk.
Yeah.
I've got this intention, so I become kind of almost fixated on that intention.
You plan routes in your head and everything. I'm going to take this road to this road to this road to get back here. It should be about 40 minutes.
And it takes the adventure.
Yeah.
A lot of the presence out of it.
In getting a dog, mate, that's what changed it for me.
Yeah.
Literally, I let him off one day. When he was a puppy, I had to train him like, we're going on a walk. This isn't your walk. This is my walk, sort of thing. You're coming with me.
Hmm.
And then once he's got really good with coming back and there's recall, and now I was like, you're walking me, mate. And the words just clipped his lead off. And I was like, where are we going then? He just ran.
Nice. I love that. I definitely think, like what you said, you seem to have mastered the art far, far greater than I have. I find that when you stop walking, because even just moving your body and hearing the ground beneath your feet, once you stop that, then you almost all the sounds around you kind of spill in.
Yeah.
And you become a little bit enveloped in just everything that's around you.
I've got into birds as well.
Oh, yeah?
That really helped.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was surrounding myself with nature and then I was just seeing nature. I didn't know what... I'm not good with trees though. But I just remember I was in the forest. It's that way.
That way.
Yeah.
It's over there.
I was in that forest and they had a lot of conifer trees in there. Then we just walked through the conifers. And then we just decided to sit down. I had some food for the dog. I had some food, and also I kept hearing this like weird, like it was like wet crunching, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it was going, and it got louder and louder, and more intense and more intense and more intense. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I looked up, and it was a whole flock of crossbills.
Oh yeah.
If you know what they are.
No.
They're like an English parrot, but their bill doesn't sit like that. It sits like that.
Oh.
They're actually quite rare to see in like this part of the UK.
Yeah.
And I saw about 500, and I just literally sat there and thought about people waited, like people that like birds and want to do bird watching. Don't see these, and I'm seeing 500. I'm seeing breeding pairs right in front of me, and it's kind of like that's when the whole taking myself off and just silence.
Yeah.
Because you experience so much that you wouldn't experience. Like,
it definitely seems that your approach to it is far more of an adventure.
Yeah.
I think, again, this is like the roots of my anxiety, where I've got this kind of need to control. I'm fixated on a task. I've become task focused. And
yeah.
I'm going to walk the dog, get back, this, that, and the other. But where the objective is walk the dog, that's then what I'm doing, rather than I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. And
what do you try next time you walk the dog? Just go, I'm going to see what birds I see. Or like, I'm going to see what trees I see. Whatever you like, kind of know something of.
I really like that. I definitely will. I would love to know more about trees.
So would I. I
fucking love trees.
Man. Yeah. So I don't know why I chose birds, but yeah.
I love birds.
Yeah. A couple of pets, they were nightmares, mate.
Yeah. Birds as pets?
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with it.
It's not for me.
Yeah, because you've got an animal that flies halfway around the world, and you cage this big.
Yeah, you know? Got a foot square cage.
Yeah, I had an Irish mosaic canary it was free flying, to be fair, so it wasn't in a cage. Yeah. But put it in a ring this big, basically, old conservatory. It was running free, but that was a nightmare because it's a bird. It had paper everywhere, so constantly cleaning the whole room. So I didn't have that bird for very long, to be fair, because I couldn't force it into a cage after that. Then ended up with like a little parakeet called Joe. Oh mate, he was the best bird I ever had.
Was
he was like hand-reared, so he wanted to be near you.
Oh.
But he'd like sit on your shoulder and like nuzzle into your cheeks and he'd talk, like fully have a conversation.
What's up,
couldn't say nothing good, but yeah, he'd tell you his name. He's a good boy.
If you're a dude and you get a bird, it's not saying anything other than 4-letter words. Okay, this is one that I'm personally interested in. What do you wish more people knew about PTSD?
It's not as wild as you think it is.
Okay.
Like the person, I mean, not like the condition itself for the person, whilst in the whole healing process, is fucking intense, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That healing process is fucked, like it's shit. And that's where most people find their problems. But it's just like I said to you a moment ago, there's the stigma behind it, from my perspective, that you're a bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm really down to earth, I'm quite reasonable. I'm just a bit of a dick. Do you know what I mean?
You're also honest.
Everybody has days when they think, oh, fuck everyone, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not in the mood for people today. If I can't be on my own, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a bit of a dick.
Yeah. You've just got a few more terms and conditions applied.
Yeah. Get too vocal with some of them.
Okay. We've spoken about tools that you manage day to day with your meditation and a couple little tips and tricks. Is there anything that you want to say? Is there anything that I've missed? Is there anything that you feel, if you were speaking to the audience about people who may know somebody, is there anything that you would personally have to say to them?
Souls don't break, they bend. Just remember that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the main thing I want to say.
Okay, so it's like the branch that doesn't bend with the wind breaks.
Yeah.
No, because what you're saying is that doesn't happen. They don't break. They bend.
Just bend.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what shit situation you're in, you're going to get out of it, you're fine. I know it sounds so fucking blasé what I'm saying. Where you are now, if you're in the worst point of your life, 5 years ago, I was in one of the worst points of my life. I'm now one of the best. You can't predict what's happening between January and December.
So true.
Just roll with it. Don't fight the ocean. Don't fight the river. Swim with it.
I love that. Okay. Is there anything that we've missed in talking about allyship?
No, mate, we've been banging every topic. Getting that name.
Oh, I love that. So we've still got just like a little break. We've still got sport and exercise, spirituality, and representing others' voices. What do you reckon?
Let's do sport, mate. Bang into that.
Okay. So speak to me about your history with activity like sport and exercise.
Actually, this goes on to the PTSD side of it.
Does it?
One thing that really helped me with my PTSD and the sports side of it was swimming.
Swimming?
Being in water was all I wanted.
Okay.
I haven't actually got a full explanation. This is black and white. I just believe it's that, the freedom, the floating. I'm in the womb again. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I go swimming.
Yeah, just to feel like being born. It's when you're climbing out the rocks, mate.
Okay. This is a serious podcast.
Yeah. But no, the first thing that kind of opened my eyes to, activities really help my mental health was swimming. I just went to the beach and just got in the water. The tricky bit about the swimming side of it, though, was the learning to swim.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how to, and I kind of just winged it.
Right, so you got in the water before you necessarily learned how to...
Yeah, and then started diving and spearfishing and stuff like that. It kind of went from there. Spearfishing,
yeah,
Royce, that's brilliant.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about that.
Oh, it is possibly the most natural form of hunting that I've ever done.
It's like by hand?
Yeah, you've got a gun, but it only shoots from, say, distance, me to you or me 2 metres away.
Okay.
So you have to swim down to the bottom, get into the weeds.
So you're not on a boat?
No, you ain't got an oxygen tank either. You hold your breath.
You're holding your breath?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I'm out my breath for 7 minutes underwater, mate.
What?
Yeah. Mammalian dive reflex. It's a real thing. It works.
See hell. All right.
Literally, your body just goes, I don't need so much oxygen. As you go further down, the pressure helps or something. I can't go further than 3 metres myself because my head can't take it.
Yeah.
But I'm good after that.
Oh, mate, that's absolutely mad. As someone that's not confident in water.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, I learned to swim, and within 6 months I was doing that spearfishing. And, yeah.
Fair play. And you were, so
Literally
you were going down.
Swim.
You were going down about 3
About
metres?
3 metres, yeah.
Okay, no tank, no oxygen, no nothing.
Ringstead as well. What can I say, Ringstead?
And you were shooting fish?
Yes.
Oh, mate.
It's the best. So you just sat in the kilt and you kind of just. The one thing that kind of made me realise I loved it was I was down and I was just looking forward watching the fish swimming over the seaweed. I just looked up and just saw the top of the ocean.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sat there for ages looking. I was like, I need a breath now because I was looking at it so long. So I watched what and got it and I was just. I don't know what it was, but that moment of peace and clarity, just looking up, I was like, I could die. Do you know what I mean? I'd be so happy to die right now. This is like the most perfect experience I've ever had.
Tranquil.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And what sort of fish were you shooting?
Triggerfish.
Triggerfish.
Yeah. Do you know what triggerfish looks like?
No.
They've got like a really big nose.
Yeah. Quite
big teeth. They kind of overlap. Just look like a normal fish after that.
Fish have teeth?
Oh, yeah. You don't know that?
I think I'm just drawing a blank there. Okay, so what sort of land sports do you do?
Land sports.
What have you done?
Kickboxing. I'm doing it currently.
Go on, tell me about that. Go on,
I love kickboxing.
You know I want to know about that.
It was weird. So obviously we knew each other before here, and it was. I think I said in passing, I'm going to go kickboxing at this place.
I remember exactly where I was.
Yeah. And you went, I do that, and I was like, oh, tell me more about it, because I've previously done MMA. Didn't really get on with MMA, if I'm honest, but it was just the area I went wasn't a good area. Got injured and then just lost all confidence with it there. Sub-grappling I've done before that. I love sub-grappling.
That's submission grappling.
Yeah, thank you. I absolutely love it. I still do, but I just don't want to do it anymore.
Okay.
If I'm honest, like this, in my head, 100% of fights start on your feet.
Yeah.
100% of confrontations will start on your feet. It's not going to start on your back. So you're going to defend yourself standing up, not no back. So that was my method of, okay, I'm going to go do a striking thing. I couldn't decide whether boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, stuff like that. I've done a bit of Muay Thai, brilliant, but the elbows are so scary. But yeah, no, and to be honest with you, mate, I am grateful that I went to that kickboxing gym with you, because the first day I walked in, shitting myself. I was late because I got the time wrong, I walked in, everyone was halfway on it, and I was looking around the room, and I was just seeing all these absolute warriors just around me, and I was just like, what the hell have I just walked into? And then seeing you go, and I thought, because you said, I'm all right, like, I'm not good, I'm not bad. This is what you said to me, and I was like, I'll watch it, and the speed you were flying at me, it's like blinking, you miss it, and I was like, I walked into the wrong place, but honestly, God, best thing I've ever done. You made me feel really comfortable there. I'm really grateful for that, mate. Not going along. You've taught me a lot. Grateful for that, and it's just the benefits it's given me day by day. I go is unbelievable.
Yeah, talk to me about, because I know that you've had experience with these other martial arts before, but it seems that kickboxing has struck a chord with you.
Yeah,
That's not too assumptuous, is it?
No, it absolutely has, mate. It feels. I don't know, I feel like I'm in tune with my body when I do it. I feel like my brain and my body are actually working together.
Okay.
Whereas in some grappling, a lot of the times you can just weight bully. So they just lay on the right spot, they can't get past it, just push down on certain things, they can't get them out. A good grappler's going to get out of it, a good grappler's going to get behind you, so you just don't grapple them. And do you know what I mean? If you want to be the best of the best. But I don't know what it is exactly with kickboxing. I think it is the harmony of my mind and bodies just working together. Like as I'm throwing my feet, my foot is right in that right placement I want it. I haven't asked it to do that, but it knew to do that. So my mind can stay active on the damage in front. I know my body's going to deal with it.
And when you come to realise that how important your mind is in everything that you do, it's like one of the lessons I was taught was, ask an open-ended question, what's your most dangerous weapon? Oh yeah, it's my roundhouse kick or it's my left hook. Yeah. No, it's your mind.
Yeah.
Once you start applying your mind to the scenarios that you're in, situations, sparring, and even pad work, at the lowest level, whatever it is, if you're applying that deliberate thinking, then you're just taking it that step further.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about, if you can, just describe the transition that you've experienced in where you started with kickboxing and what it's done for you and where you might be now.
Oh, so when I first started, I was probably at the start of my mental health downhill, I'm not going to lie.
Really?
It was probably where the ball started rolling. And as I'm sure you would know this, it is hard to keep going every week. Especially while you're learning, it's hard to go and do something you're bad at.
When everyone else in the room is better than you.
Yeah.
And when everybody else in the room can kick your ass.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's hard to keep putting yourself back there. There's a lot of fear there, which I think it didn't help my whole negative spiral, if I'm completely honest, to start off with. But that's irrelevant. If I was going to go when I was in a positive mindset, it's still going to have the same effect to me.
Okay. And what kept you going?
I don't know. It's so strange.
Okay.
I had a voice in my head just telling me, you need to do this. Like, you need to apply. You need to really, really give it a good go. Don't just give it the half-assed stuff you normally do and go in, oh yeah, it was all right, I'll go for a few months, and then just get bored of it and pass it off. Just something in my head clicked after the first month. The first month was the hardest for me to go. And it was a lot of, fucking hell, here we go. It was Monday, Wednesday, drag myself there. But now I'm looking forward to Monday, I'm looking forward to Wednesday. Like, when the Wednesday's done, I'm like, oh, come on, just get back to Monday again. Do you not get me back in there? But I don't know. I feel like whatever was given to me in there, whether it be from yourself or the coach or the people in there, it's just fed me. And it's fed exactly what I needed.
What's to say that it didn't come from you?
Interesting. I never give myself credit. I never think of it in that sense.
You sure that I didn't make you go?
No, I made myself go.
Coach didn't make you go?
No.
I didn't make you apply yourself.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Just you find that answer, just saying.
Yeah, just a thought. But I've certainly noticed changes in you, and you've spoken to me at length of how that ambition, setting that goal, and finding that reward feedback loop.
Yeah.
That positive feedback loop in, okay, the more that I put into this, the more that I'm going to get out. And you've been telling me how it's been positively affecting your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking after your health a bit more.
Oh,
you look better. You look healthier.
But
But what sort of things have you noticed?
I've noticed I've got a lot more energy, which I know sounds silly, But like getting out of bed is so easy now.
Yeah.
Like, I really struggle just waking up. Probably doesn't help the amount of cameras as mine with the fucking But no, I've noticed my attitude is so different.
Is it?
I've got not necessarily more of a positive attitude. I've just got a better outlook. Like, it doesn't matter what's going to happen because I can get myself out of any situation you're going to throw at me today.
It's that self-reliability, isn't it?
Yeah, I know I can handle most things that's going to be thrown at me. What is there to worry about? Just carry on.
Yeah. It's the ideology of a martial artist is that they'll only ever use their martial arts as a last resort.
Yeah.
Because they know if shit hits the fan and it all goes tits up, they can handle themselves.
Yeah.
So everything else comes before that.
Exactly.
And I suppose that's...
I noticed I'm speaking my mind a bit more. Good for me, bad for everyone else.
Yeah.
But I noticed I'm not afraid to say if something's wrong now. I noticed beforehand I wouldn't have a verbal confrontation with someone because it could turn into a physical, and I don't want that. I don't care if it turns into a physical now, which I suppose isn't the martial art mindset, but I ain't going to go there because I can deal with it verbally. And if you want to go there, I'm probably going to flick you a couple of times in the spots where it really hurts and fuck off.
So what about your mental health?
Mental health is probably at the strongest it's ever been from it.
Really?
That's all I can say.
Fucking hell.
I have never felt this drive I've had after doing the kickboxing, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it is certainly something to be said for going to something where you know it's going to be shit. You know that you're the least skilled person in the room.
Yeah.
But it's once you endure that enough, then you start to give yourself reasons to go back. Those reasons start to accumulate around you, and then it's, okay, now I want to go.
It was after my first Olympic club. I think I got kicked in the face about 3 times and I wasn't expecting it. It was a mismatch, but it was my fault for signing up. I was swimming with the sharks. I could only swim with like tadpoles, do you know what I mean? And it was my attitude. The first day after I got kicked in the face was terrible. It's kind of where I left the place with a bruised face and a bruised ego, and I had to nurse my ego back to health. And once I realised that the ego was getting me nowhere, it was the ego that put me in with the sharks, it's the ego that made me get kicked in the face so many times, get rid of that. And then it was sort of like, okay, I'm going to keep a bit of it because that guy kicked me, I'm coming back for you, mate. And it's been since then, I'm working on my head kicks, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've got a big old target on my back.
God.
No. Well, I've said I'll do you the courtesy of not making it fucking easy.
Yeah, I'm grateful, mate. Apart from the last session, still got that bruise.
Yeah. Part of the fun. But is it right to say that, like, whereabouts do you stand now? So you've understood and had these positive feedback loops, but what's next?
What's next? I'm pushing for an amateur fight with my kickboxing. That's the real prove to me point for that. I've had a conversation with a few people about it because they wondered, why don't I just want to train? Why do I need to compete? Is it just feeding that ego? Is it feeding the competitive side? For me, I hate confrontation. I've avoided it my whole life. I've been in confrontation, but in my head, if I can get into an amateur fight with somebody who's trained for the same amount of time I have, and I can handle myself not only physically but emotionally, what else do I need?
Yeah, I felt the need as well.
Yeah.
Mine came from fear. It was one of the biggest, ugliest demons in my life, and it loomed over me and it ruled me to an extent. But I knew in myself that was not the answer. Yeah. So I knew that in testing myself against another individual in the same fair set of circumstances, I would have to look that fear in the eye. Yeah. And win, lose or draw, I would meet it at its level. Yeah. And give the best account for myself. Yeah. And
it's that self-win. I think I need that self-win.
Giving yourself a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
And you can't unclimb that mountain. Bad analogy. Yeah. You can't undo everything that you've done once you've gone to the top of it. Yeah. Like, in those 8 weeks that you prepare, you grow so much as an individual. Yeah. Kind of almost spiritually within yourself, in order to rise to that occasion, in order to excel yourself, in order to ready yourself mentally and physically. The mental side of it is, I cannot say enough for it.
I was going to say, I imagine the whole 8 weeks, I imagine the first 2 weeks is alright, and then the last 6 weeks, your brain is just fighting yourself.
Yeah, it depends on how you, I mean, I've only had 2 fights, but it depends on how you approach the entirety of it. The first fight was every single day, death grip control, hyper-focused, cannot compartmentalise, incredibly unhealthy. Second one, so I basically took every negative from the first one and said, let's do that differently.
Yeah.
And it was a far healthier process. I just focused on every single day, focused 100% on what I was able to control while I was able to control it.
Yeah.
Park it, leave it, come back to it again tomorrow. And do what you can every instance while you're able to do it.
Yeah.
Honour yourself by committing 100% of your energy and focus in that time, and then you've done your bit. Learn to have peace with the fact, okay, I've done everything that I can for today. Walk away from it, come back to it.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to getting in that ring, you can say to yourself, I've trusted the process. Just let's make it happen.
Yeah, trust it and deliver.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up like that because I've signed up for a charity boxing match. I've taken up boxing as well just to help with the kickboxing. I noticed my hands were lacking. And I've kind of been sat thinking about that. I was really nervous at the start, like I said before. Really excited now. But I think my whole attitude towards it's changed. Like for me, the boxing side of it isn't necessarily like I want to be a boxer, I need to have a boxing match. It's just kind of like, I'm just challenging myself. Let's see how far I can go.
Yeah.
Let's see what I've got.
I mentioned something like that in the last episode. So just going off of what I mentioned a moment ago. So Viktor E. Frankl was I believe he was a psychologist who's famous for writing a book, Man's Search for Meaning, about his personal experiences in Auschwitz. He said that mental health is based on a certain degree of tension between what one is and what one should become. And his quote was, "What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for a worthwhile goal, a freely chosen task, the call to potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled by him." So it's volunteering yourself for something which you know is going to be shit.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be hard.
But you know where you want your end result with these sort of thing.
And you know what you might become, or you know at least what you might become on the other end of it might be worthwhile.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest takeaways from sport and exercise that you've learned in regards to your mental health?
A healthy body, healthy mind. 100%. When you're eating crap, you feel crap. When you feel crap, you think crap.
Talk to me about push-ups.
Push-ups?
Yeah.
In what sense?
Your push-ups.
My push-ups?
Yeah, the one that your counsellor told you about.
Oh, yes. So my old counsellor used an analogy is every time you fight to get better, when you're stood at the front of your brain, better, your mental health's behind you doing press-ups. So it doesn't matter, like you're going to get stronger, that's going to get stronger. You've always got to have that battle. It's learning to not let it step too far forward in that battle. It's knocking it back, I suppose.
So a way that I've interpreted it is if wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever's in the back of your mind, the state of your mental health is doing push-ups. If you're not doing so well, if you're kind of stewing or milling or, just kind of a bit down in the dumps, that's going to exacerbate itself and become more.
Yeah.
If you're working, if you're pushing towards something, if you're giving yourself a goal that you know is going to be difficult and you're exceeding your own expectations, it's only going to get stronger.
You're training harder than the imaginary man doing press-ups in my head. No, that's all it is for me.
It's like whatever you feed it, it will become.
Yeah. The exercise side of it, though, like, lazy kid, mate. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Proper fat kid as well. But since doing that, and actually not just doing exercise as well, as I've applied exercise into my life. Like, I make it part of my routine. Routine is very important for me as well. That's something else. But, I train minimum 3 days a week, sometimes 4 if I feel like it. But in the off time, I'm not sat at home just eating sweets and playing games. I've planned out 2 5K runs in like different directions, so I don't see the same way. I've planned out how far I have to run around the field in my back garden to hit 5k, 8k, 3k, got all sorts of things. Do it because the runner's high. That was something that I learned recently. I didn't know it was a thing.
I can't find anything else that's quite like a good run.
Yeah, that runner's high. It's that you get home, you can't breathe, but you just come on.
Even after like martial arts and stuff, like you're pretty buzzing after a really good session, and there's nothing quite like that in terms of the actual workout itself. But after a good run, after it, you're just like, whew.
I think the difference between the martial arts side and the running side is the martial arts, for me personally, if my adrenaline goes up, I then have to do the adrenaline dump.
Okay.
Which, if that happens, there's a high chance of falling asleep as I park my car at my house. Like it takes it out, But when you, see, it doesn't miss his head because it's either adrenaline dump or I've got adrenaline. So she's like, "You're wired, go away or go to bed."
Yeah, can't have it one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's weird how it has those different kind of reactions, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not sure what it is. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so now this is the new section of the podcast, something that we've never done before. I've spoken to somebody with PTSD, and they have provided me with questions that they would like to know, given the circumstances of this situation. So, sat across from someone who's got a history of PTSD or C-PTSD. They've given me a list of questions that they would like to ask you that directly benefit them or would directly benefit them. And I see that as
sharing knowledge for growth, I would say, personally. Yeah,
here you're sharing your insights with everybody who might be in the exact same position as you. Something new, something interesting, and let's see how we get on. So the first question is, how have you found adapting to situations that used to be normal?
Hard.
Yeah, I bet.
Incredibly hard. It's just trying to think of like a perfect situation, but it's hard to think of them. But normal conversations I struggle with. So, example, like the working environment, you walk in the office and, "Oh, I did this today," and "Oh, my day's so terrible because it's rained for 10 minutes and it's going to rain for 5. Do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. You walk in and you hear, like, to them, in that moment, it's a big deal. I should have an opinion. I can't help but think, "Oh, fucking grow up." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know everybody thinks it. I say it. That's my problem. But in that sense, that's where I find it hard. It's not necessarily everyday life. It's societal norms I struggle with. Because what is known as a societal norm, if it upsets me, I don't want it near me. So that's where I struggle.
Okay. How has it changed how you perceive the future? I know you said you had a bit of a pessimistic...
So I do, my future outlook is very bleak.
Sorry, sceptical? Is that the word you used? Or pessimistic?
Pessimistic, like that.
Okay.
I'm a very pessimistic person. My future outlook is always very bleak. I'm just that kind of guy. But recently, all good, mate.
Yeah.
I'm in a good place. Like, that's all I could say. Past few months, I've been in a good place. My outlook is looking good.
Can you attribute that to... Is there anything that you can point towards and say, this might have been...
It was that moment of realisation of that I've actually done inner child work. I'm protecting my inner child. It was that moment for me. It was like, things are starting to look up.
And I've made it clear that I do not represent people with PTSD, but I can imagine from what you've told me and what I've learned is the idea of that child work can be quite daunting.
Yeah. It's a bit daunting. It's a bit embarrassing as well because
I'm sure it is for everyone.
Yeah, it's that that I use the term jumping in puddles and stuff like that. Yeah, I have been told to jump in puddles.
Have you?
Like put wellies on and just jump in puddles and go get dirty and just act like a kid.
I don't know if you've seen me on the farm. I jump in all the puddles. I got a proper stamp on them. I'm wearing wellies.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. Spicy boots.
It's one of those. What were we talking about? I drawn a bit of a blank.
Inner child work.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did find it embarrassing what I was told, but I just found I was going down the wrong route with inner child work. I felt maybe because I had such a restrictive childhood, I needed to experience some of those things. So I went down that route, which is quite embarrassing. I'm 30, rolling down the grass hill and stuff like that and screaming and whatever. But it just turns out, I think the inner child work is incredibly important for people with PTSD. You need to do it.
Yeah.
You just need to find where you need to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So take a bit of time in figuring out how you're going to do it.
Absolutely. Like I've been in healing technically since 2012, 2013. I was full contact, like cut off. And well, it's 2025 now, and I only started feeling good at the end of 2024. Like, it's a long process. Don't beat yourself up how long it takes. It's long.
It's a lifetime journey, isn't it?
Yeah, and unfortunately, there is no cure. You can help, you can't cure. We can touch on it later with the spirituality side of it. There is theories that you can cure it, but I don't want to try.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes.
And so just quickly, it's interesting because in looking back, that has helped you see the future.
Yeah, you've actually hit the nail right on the head there. In looking back, and everything I used to look at was so bleak and filled me full of anger and hatred and a lot of, I don't know what the word, I compared myself to people 24/7 as well. Like, they had this childhood, I had this, their parents like this, mine like this. Just kind of, in looking back, I've noticed I was looking back so much, I gave up on the future, I didn't care for it. I focused so much back here, and then once I realised that everything back there ain't me, because I'm not the same person, let it go, just look forward. Yeah. It's hard, I'm doing it for years, I'm making it sound like I do it naturally, it's literally been months in the making, but...
Years. Yeah. So do you have any positive insights that you've gained from your experiences?
Yeah. I see myself as chosen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I've been selected.
Yeah, what for?
Yeah. To start off with was to take shit. Like, I felt like I was put on here to have that bit of a rough start, so no one else had to. That was my... I suppose in a way making it better for myself. But now I kind of see myself as, I've had these experiences, that's fine. I've got these conditions, that's fine. I feel like I was made to have those experiences and these conditions to put me right here, because something feels like it's going to change soon. I just need to know what. I don't know what, but something feels like it's going to be a big change. I just need to be there for it.
Sounds quite exciting.
Yeah.
And after such a long time of healing, it's now in the timeline. It's only been a short time where you've been feeling that way. You're almost like you're on the precipice of something.
Oh mate, it's
Confusing. So would you attribute that to
box breathing, 100%. Talking through my thoughts always helps.
But it does, like, not over the top, but complete transparency help. So, like, my head's here. This is what I'm thinking about. This is probably why I'm thinking about it, and just kind of following it back verbally.
What I will tend to do when I'm doing that is I kind of just sit in my car, sit on the sofa, go through my head. And obviously, I'm having a lot of negative thoughts because it's not just one.
Is this to yourself?
Yeah. I'll sit and think to myself, and just because I'm having a lot of negative, I'll pinpoint. So I'll kind of pinpoint, okay, it's that, and that. Then I'll figure out what's the similarities between these lot. And if there's no similar, say like half of it's this, half of it's that, okay, so I've got two problems here. What are they? So I then have to figure out what is the common denominator between the two, like, columns of issues.
Right.
Then once I've done that, it's kind of talking through it. Just literally, I'll just sit there and just be like, right, so why am I feeling like this? I'm feeling like this because it's fucking rained for 3 days and I've been out working in it all day, and I got my pants wet earlier when I first started working. I hate getting my pants wet. Do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. I'll sit and talk to myself and literally just imagine I'm talking to myself. Yeah. Explaining my whole day as to why I feel crap. And usually once it's all come out, it's usually because my boxers got wet at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, how do you express what you feel?
Not very well, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I do struggle with my... I'm good at saying I have problems and what the problem makes me feel, but I couldn't sit down and say to somebody, let me rephrase that. I'm not good at expressing positive feelings. I'm good at expressing my negative feelings. I'm good at telling you how I feel bad. I'm not good at telling you where you make me feel good or how I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the examples that you've given me are conversational and
Yeah.
like to another person, but do you have any other way in which you get out what is in?
Kickboxing, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's expression.
yeah, 100%. And I noticed I was doing it and using it for that a couple of weeks ago. A bit of an incident at work. Somebody who also trains somewhere else where I train with boxing gave me shit all day. Annoyed me. So I was like, okay, I'll just get you later, mate. And that was it. As soon as I realised that, he did everything. And nothing he did annoyed me. Nothing he did like made me happy. I was just sat there like, I'm just going to box you later. Outboxed him. Didn't have to beat him up either. I was just like, there we go. Is it worth it? No. Let's go home.
That's good. Okay, how... Do you have any advice on professional help?
Advice on professional help, yes.
Okay.
There was one therapy I did that I actually found quite life-changing to really get that ball rolling on my healing process, which was EMDR. I can't remember the whole name. It's eye movement. It's related to do with eye movement and lights.
Yeah.
I'm a very realistic person. I don't believe in bullets. Like if something's called alternative medicine, I've never believed it because if it were, it'd be called medicine, not alternative. So when I heard all this stuff, I thought, that's a bit mumbo jumbo. You're going to shine a light bar and go, you're healed.
Yeah.
Honestly, God, mate, life changing. One session.
I've done it before. Yeah. Or I've been told to do it before.
Yeah.
By a therapist.
One session and I changed.
Yeah.
The first session, it was a heavy one. It was an hour and a half, and I must have cried for 15 minutes of it. Like the whole time, you'd sit there, I'd think of the situation that was upsetting me. We'd do the process, and then it was weird. I could feel it all gradually lifting. I could feel everything just getting lighter. Then once the session finished, I messaged my friend and I was just like, I'll just have this therapy. I'm going to just chill out for a bit. Do you want to come over later? By the time I pressed send and put the phone down, I laid down on the bed, I was gone.
Yeah. How do you mean?
Just slept.
Really?
Just like that. And I didn't wake up till 11 o'clock the next morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Evening, sorry.
I had a part of my counselling. That's where I did the child work, and I had these realizations and in some degree set myself free. It was a really fucking difficult session, and I went back and revisited the single most traumatic experience like properly, because speak of the devil, when I did it with the psychologist when I was about 17, I did EMDR, and I practiced that a couple times over a period of like 2 weeks, and that helped me compartmentalize it and store it. But I realised I never actually processed that, so I was still living with the trauma of this thing that happened. So I went back and I did it. But the point that I'm getting at is when I processed that properly, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like I pulled over in the car and I fucking bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
And I just in the middle of the road. But my body has such a strange reaction for days afterwards. I was like broken physically.
Did you find as well, no, I don't know if I'll be able to describe it right, but I found for 2 days afterwards, my perception had changed.
Yeah.
Like the way I viewed things was very differently. Voices sound different.
Okay.
It was almost like I was really, really, really stoned, but sober. Like everything just seemed really slow-mo. Like I could feel my eyes moving differently.
Damn.
It felt weird for me, for a couple of days.
It's weird because it is like you're processing or healing or working your way through layers of something which have been almost like weighing on top of you for how many years?
Yeah.
And it's getting rid of them. You're kind of like, oh, this is life without that.
Incredible brain hangover.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I feel it.
The next day I had a really bad headache for like a lot of the day, and I researched it afterwards, and that was symptomatic of going through trauma healing. But the physical kind of exhaustion that I had after it for days was...
Did you ever find like you were vomiting or anything during stages?
No.
Just so they're quite intense if you get vomiting. No, I've only had it once, and it was in the eye, and it was Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's a big session.
I was just sat there talking, I sat with my eyes closed and I just threw the computer. So
Really?
I'm gone, I need to throw it.
Wow. Yeah, that's getting your money's worth.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I can't thank him enough for everything he done for me.
Okay.
But he was brilliant.
What about things you might avoid in terms of professional help or things to look out for?
This is just an opinion,
Yeah.
so I don't want anyone to take this as fact. Once you've said it, you've said it. Once it's out there, it's out there. Don't keep doing talking therapies. Just relive it and relive it and relive it. That's what I learned. Like, if there's something in you need to get it out 100%. Tell everybody you need to tell. Don't just tell one person and assume you've told everyone. If you need to tell your mother, your sister, your friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, tell them all. But once you've done it in therapy once and you feel like you've touched on it, don't keep going back to it.
Right. I see. It's almost unproductive.
Yeah, it's just reigniting the same problems over and over.
I see. Right. Okay. Yeah, you're just reopening the same wound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just picking the scalp constantly. I swear it was red under there yesterday. Do you know what I mean?
Fuck, it still is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this person also wanted to know, have you explored any options before getting professional help? Like, what sort of things did you do before you got professional help? I know one of them.
Yeah. Drugs.
Drugs.
A big one for me, mate. I unfortunately now I have health issues related to the amount of drugs I took.
Oh, really?
My stomach is just ulcers and hernias, basically.
Yeah.
But the reason I went down this route, I took a lot of mind-altering drugs, and the reason I've done that is because in that moment I needed to alter my mind.
Okay.
I couldn't deal with my thoughts. I couldn't be sober. I needed that calm, the tranquility of being high, basically.
Yeah, an escape.
Yeah. I wasn't, I was banging 2-3 grams of ecstasy on a weekend.
Okay.
And there's no way I could be sad having that much ecstasy in my body. All I want to do is love everybody and just hug everyone.
Yeah. what could be wrong about that?
Yeah.
This can't harm me, I feel great.
Yeah, and then it was the 3-month bender I've had and stuff like that. That was 3 months of MDMA, ketamine, MCAT, cocaine, just anything I could get my hands on.
I remember MK. I never did it, but I always...
Specific smell, mate.
Yes.
Very distinct.
Yes. I remember people that did it, and they always said about the smell.
Yeah. Particular catfish smell.
Odor catfish, yes. What about any positive avenues that you might have explored professional help? Like perhaps, so hypothetically, say someone might not feel that they're quite ready to open those boxes. Is there anything that you would suggest to them or to anyone listening they could try before to kind of ease themselves into it?
It depends on your definition, but I'd probably say try counselling.
Okay.
Because with counselling, I found anyway in my experience of it, counselling is very patient driven. Like, they can't force a conversation out of you. Therapy, you're going because I feel I have a problem with this, I need help with it, can you help me? They're out there, an understanding. It's usually CBT. Don't waste your time with CBT. Odd.
Okay.
But yeah, it's normally that. So the difference with like therapy to counselling is I need to talk, but I don't know if this is a problem. So I found a counsellor local. She literally, you just call her, and she isn't in an appointment, and she's not busy. She'll talk to you there and then.
Oh wow. And
cheap, which is quite nice. Because the NHS ones do a good job, but unfortunately I haven't got 9 years to wait when I'm having a problem. It's
That's what I found, because it was counselling that I was in.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was very patient driven, and I went in with certain objectives.
Yeah.
And I tackled those objectives. They were hard. They were fucking hard.
Yes.
That's the nature of what I wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
But she was completely understanding afterwards. It's like, you've done, like, it seems like the majority of the work here has been done.
Yeah.
I'll give you my number. Give me a text if you want to have another session.
Brilliant.
Yeah. She was completely understanding about it.
So I would recommend, if you're not, because I had an issue with therapy, because you only see a therapist if you're crazy. That was my pre-notion. So counselling kind of...
Sorry, for the camera, is that true?
No.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
The thing I found to help bridge that gap and make it more comfortable was counselling, because it it started off very friendly. Like the first couple of sessions, I just went in and had a chat. So I wanted to get comfortable with her and like talk about things that day that pissed me off, rather than problems I was having. So like, someone cut me up in line in the shop and I wanted to slap the back of their head.
Yeah.
Fucking dickhead. You shouldn't do that, should you really? Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of stuff. It kind of really helped me get used to the whole idea of therapy.
Okay. Because my attitude towards it has always been, I want to address the root, not the symptom.
Yeah.
But I can totally understand how learning how to adjust to everyday situations can be beneficial.
Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't explored that.
Yeah, to be fair, mate, like with myself in everyday situations, I do have a tendency to overreact, but I don't know if that is, why. Because to me, I always have intense emotions. I've always attributed in PTSD because I'm always in some form of flight, fight, freeze or fawn. Do you know what I mean? There's always some element of it going.
Yeah. Okay. And I suppose, that's my bias speaking about wanting to address the root, but if I were to put myself in the shoes of somebody that has PTSD, going straight to the root might seem a little bit reckless. So, yeah.
It's something they ain't going to want to do, I can tell you that, mate. From my perspective, I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
That box is scary, I don't even poke it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet. So, we mentioned a moment ago about drugs as a coping mechanism, perhaps not the healthiest.
Yeah.
But what sort of things did you glean from those experiences, particularly like the psychedelic, mind-altering ones?
They made me very spiritual.
Yeah.
I started to really lean into my spirituality, looking into it a lot more, learning a lot more. Because I've never really been a religious person. Like I've never, to me, if like God is always seen as all seeing, all loving, but He demands your time and attention, and it just seems very, it's not for me. So I've ripped that off, and then I played with a couple of mind-altering drugs, seen a couple of things, and yeah, I'm spiritual.
So, what does your spirituality mean to you?
My spirituality, to me, it keeps me on my path.
Yeah.
It's not going to let me stray. There's only two things I need to do, and it's keep moving forward and just keep showing love. That's all I need to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that that's a positive message for the Airing It Out podcast.
Yeah.
You can quantify your life to showing love and moving forward. Just do a lot of drugs.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. No. There is, it's the whole... The reason why I went into it is because I read on mushrooms and DMT. I never tried DMT because it scared me. But mushrooms it forges new neural pathways.
Yeah.
And with PTSD, it's your neural pathway which is causing the problems. They're just directed in the wrong direction. So my plan was to go into it with the right mind, go into it with the right attitude, go into it with the right idea. I had a good couple of people with me as well. They were staying sober just to make sure I was safe, trip sitters and stuff like that. But I just found I couldn't go down the path I wanted to go down with it.
Okay.
It had helped me a lot. I'm not going to lie, I just don't recommend it because it doesn't help you with everything. It makes a lot of things worse.
Okay.
Where it helps with, say, for me, it helped me. It's like a higher power. I've discovered a new higher power. I've discovered a new being that, to an extent, I formed my own religion with spirituality. But
it's because I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
I have certain beliefs, but it's almost kind of not necessarily subscribing to one set of beliefs that you might call a religion, but it's finding your own.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, what I kind of learned from it was, it all come from being high, and I'm sorry, this is a podcast, I'm telling you the story. For me, the one that changed it was I ate a Henry of mushrooms, 3.5 grams, quite a large dose.
Henry of mushrooms?
Yeah.
What's that?
3.5 grams.
Okay, right.
So it's a seeing stuff dose.
Enough.
Yeah, it's quite a high one. Not the highest, but high enough. And I just got overwashed with this feeling of just love and peace.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Deck as well. He was in the room with me. We was chatting, and then just out of nowhere, he kind of just looked at me, but his mouth didn't move, and he just went, "All you need is love." And that was it. It stuck with me ever since then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It sounds so silly.
All right.
Just keep moving forward. Again, he was looking at me. Mouth wasn't moving. Keep looking forward. And then ever since then, there's 2 principles I've added into my life, and then I researched more into the whole spirit side of mind-altering drugs, and I looked into DMT. Have you ever looked into DMT? Like the
No, roughly, but not scratched too far beneath.
So obviously DMT is released when you dream,
Yes.
when you're dying, when you die, you get a flood of it. So there's been like a collective experience that was actually proven in a science experiment of they gave a handful of people a breakthrough dose of DMT. They all had the same experience of the breakthrough, but they all had different experiences but saw the same deities.
Whoa.
Ever since then, I was just like, okay, this is the path I want to be on.
Yeah.
That feeling of all that when I was in that moment, because I was on a bad trip as well. I'm not gonna lie, I want to have a good time, and it just that deck speaking but not speaking helped me calm down.
Maybe deck is your god.
Yeah. Don't tell him that.
He is your higher power.
But to an extent, just not necessarily. I'm not surrendering to the higher power. It's just sort of knowing something around me's got my back.
I get what you mean. I do get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's knowing that there might be something beyond your understanding,
Yeah.
beyond your comprehension.
That doesn't demand my servitude. Like it goes back to the old paganism sort of stuff, because they were very spiritual as well, weren't they? Like having Mother Gaia and stuff like that. And, although they did sacrifices, and after we still think we should. We're just choosing the wrong people.
Yeah, just kill a goat every now and then.
Oh, about people, mate. I was sent them to prison. Sacrifice them.
Have you heard about my god? You're about to. So how does spirituality, well, I mean, what does it look like in your day-to-day?
So obviously I work outside, spend a lot of time outside. I feel like it's given me more of a connection with nature. Like I feel more connected to a tree I'm sitting on or what I'm walking on. I walked around barefoot in the forest once just to see what that was like.
There's a lot of...
Don't recommend it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but there is benefits to it. I felt good doing it because it's the whole skin touching connection, isn't it?
Earthing or grounding?
Yeah, grounding, I think you call it, yeah.
But if you have this, if you believe that everything is all interconnected and there is this higher power, then it's almost like everything that is natural and that is a part of that.
One thing I have found it's made me do as well, I say make me do, it's kind of led me to do, is just generally just more conscientious of what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, what I'm saying and how I'm doing things. Like I'm not tipping certain things away because I don't want to damage certain things. I'm not, just going to use a car then, but I drive so much. Yeah, it's just other bits like how I'm talking to people. I'm trying to be a bit more, I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to be less blunt and more loving. I'm trying to be more compassionate. I'm trying to put into the world what I felt that day.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, giving more. You get that reward. For giving to others.
Yeah,
and it's not why you do it, but yeah, it's like everything that you give is in some way returned.
Yeah, to an extent. But just putting a bit more in, and he's going to bring a bit more good back. And the more good I have back, the more good I'm going to put out. It's this never-ending cycle.
Yeah, positive cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do it for.
Exactly.
Is there anything else that you want to say on spirituality?
That'd be mind-altering drugs to find it.
No. Find it normally. Okay, so just before we wrap up, we're going to round off the last of the positive questions.
Yeah.
So let's have a little quick look where we're at. What were you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my story.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
a really
grateful
good
for
one.
my past to an extent. Not grateful for all of it. But I'm grateful for what has happened to me and how I am now.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I managed to turn my life around in that middle and not go down the path that I was going, that was being led down, and I'm now where I am.
Do you have any regrets?
No, not really.
Oh, that wasn't on there. I just wanted
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wanted to...
There's not much I would consider a regret. I don't really regret anything.
Yeah.
Everything I've done in my life has always felt right in that moment, so what's the point in regretting it?
Yeah. And that is what has made you who you are today.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the small things in your life that you enjoy?
Cream eggs, man.
Cream
Cream eggs make my life.
Surely not.
Genuine.
Oh, come on, mate. Grow up.
There was just something about a cream egg. It's that fondant in the middle. It's so disgusting. It's good.
Ben's nodding his head.
Oh, I'm feeling it. Oh, I want a cream egg so bad.
You're a bunch of wrong ones, honestly. What do you like? Do you like cream eggs?
Mid.
You're mid. I don't like them.
No.
Don't you?
No, they make my teeth hurt.
Mid.
I understand that because they are quite high in sugar, but I could easily eat a 5-pack.
Yeah, a
8-pack, yeah, I've done it.
You beast.
What, the full egg or a smaller one?
It's full eggs.
Full eggs, I didn't know they did smaller ones.
They do the midi one.
Oh, yeah.
There's just something about cream egg, mate. It just brings me joy.
I respect that. I don't agree with it.
So you and your pears.
Yes, okay, a pear does make my day
I
better.
hate a pear, mate.
Oh, listen.
It's a soggy apple. It's not nice.
You know what it does with a pear.
Do you microwave or something weird like that? Where'd you put it? That's the question.
Okay, right. Do you have any? What other small things? Come on, there's got to be something better.
Just taking those 5-minute moments, mate.
Yeah.
Every time you have a 5-minute moment, take a minute to appreciate it.
Put your phone down.
Yeah, just be present sometimes.
See where you are.
And gaming, mate. Gaming changes life.
Yeah.
Find a good game, find some good person.
What's your favourite game of all time?
The Witcher.
Oh.
The Witcher series.
Yeah, good answer.
Not necessarily one was a bit dry, but 2 and 3, and then the new one that's coming out this year looks fantastic.
Is it this year?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Favourite game at the moment?
Phasmophobia.
Oh, you mentioned about that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm loving it.
Oh, fantastic. What are some of the big things in your life?
Big things in my life. That's an interesting question. What do you mean by big things then? Like big things coming up?
Big, small things that you enjoy. So these are the little things that make your day better. But what are some of the big things that make your life better? Make your day better?
At the moment, my partner, Amy, she's making my life so much better.
Yeah.
I can't thank her enough. My dog. If my dog isn't with me, I'm not going to be alive. I know that.
Oh my
I
god.
know that sounds a bit maudlin, but I was talking to Amy about it the other day. She was, we had those what if questions, like what happens when he gets put down. So I'm not going to work for a month.
Yeah.
Taking a month off, like I don't even see anyone.
Oof, those are heavy questions.
Yeah, but no, it's the bigger things. Yeah, I suppose I'm just grateful for the people I've got around me right now.
Yeah.
Like the people I'm letting in, I'm grateful they're there.
That's a nice answer. I don't know if I asked you this earlier. What are you proud of?
Bram's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Like both
I know it sounds
facetiously
silly,
and
but yeah.
not.
Yeah, I'm proud I'm still here. I'm proud I'm still going.
It's the perseverance of the human spirit.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily in like the sense of like not dead, but I'm more proud of the fact that I've still got fight in me.
It's not that you're not dead. It's that you're still going.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. What gets you out of a rut?
It's about Crew next.
Fuck off. Do you know why I asked it like that?
Why is
I
that?
asked it that particular question because I used to ask my guests, what pulls you out of the darkness? But some smart ass who's not sat over there in the corner said turning the light on.
Good move, mate. I like that. Well done.
I've clearly been able to move past that. What gets you out of a rut?
What gets me out of a rut? Just change up your routine for a bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm a stickler for routine. Because if you don't have a routine, I just feel like your life falls apart if not everything's in a rhythm. But if you feel like you're just in a bit of a, I don't mean like a repetitive rut, by the way, by that question, but just same routine, just mix it up.
Yeah.
Make
I
your
like
bed after you brush your teeth.
Yeah, like as much as I want to relinquish the control that I try and have over my life, I need a routine to function.
Yeah.
And I personally enjoy refining that routine and just tweaking and making little alterations and tinkering. So yeah, I definitely get what you mean. Last one, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
Passionate about debating. I love a good debate.
Yeah.
I just love, it's not necessarily the whole argument side of it or like the disagreeing opinions. Just love hearing what people, the same topic but just different perspective. I love that.
Yeah.
But it's not what I'm most passionate about. Right now, in my current time in life, the thing I'm most passionate about right now is just showing love. So all I want to do is just show love everywhere.
Yeah.
it's such a new thing for me. It's so new. I'm doing it all the time.
Well, I think I speak with some confidence in saying that, in being here, in speaking about everything that you've done, in maybe not in the way that we understand love generally, but particularly to people who are out there who might have the same condition as you, you've shown them a lot of love.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Together.
Before we go, is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, mate, we've hit the nail on everything, really. Just reiterating the same point I made earlier. Souls don't bend, the souls don't break, they bend. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody can get you.
Is that your final message?
That's my final message.
Anything you want to say to them?
Winners.
Luke Beech, thank you for being on the podcast.
No problem, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. If you're still hanging on the end of the episode, take care. Love you all. See you next week.